welcome to my second video. As we can see, I'm still wearing the same t-shirt from the last video. No, I'm not going to talk about it. But my makeup is different. I did like a little dark kind of glam. I could put my lashes on. I love this lippy, although I hate the blush. Like, oh, and obviously I'm still wearing this thing. Fuck ass wig that I got from Amazon. Girl, this wig has served me for like years. Okay, I promise I'll invest in a better one when I get money, but a bitch is broke. Anyways, so I wanted to make another video so quickly. Honestly, just because of what's happened in my life circumstances. After work today, I did have a phone call with my brother, and it was nice. I haven't spoken to him in a while, but we were discussing, my dad, and I did tell you guys about the last time I spoke to my dad, and it just kind of went down not a very nice path, and it ended up with me ending the call and getting upset and crying again. So that's why I just decided to make another video venting. What I want to talk about today is basically super religiosity and how that can fester and grow into racial superiority in certain groups. And I also want to link that to current events. As you can see what's going on in the news right now, there is a war between Iran, Israel, and the United States. They have been, attacking each other. Well, I say attacking each other, but we all know that it's really just one country just trying to defend themselves and bullies bullying up on them. Yeah, that part. And that's what I really want to talk about is how religion really has shaped all of this. Because when my perspective of this is that it all does come back to religion, and I could just be obviously, have a bias and, because I don't like religion and stuff. But I just want to kind of make my point for that as to why I think that, religion is kind of I don't think it's the only issue and the only cause, but I think it's one of the main issues. And I just want to discuss that and discuss certain points relating to that, I guess. So, yeah. Before we get into the video, I just want to say if you like what you've seen so far, please subscribe and comment. I don't know. I will try to upload as much as I possibly can. So, without further ado, let's get to the video. So, I really wanted to talk about, first of all, how religion is, first of all, used to divide people. The first thing is religion, and, well, I don't want to say religion as in every single religion, but when I'm talking about religion, the context I'm talking about is our organized religion. And the three religions I'm going to, relate to or discuss when I'm talking about my points are Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, just because they're the top three organized religions. So one thing that religion does, it creates two groups. Okay, there's an in group and an out group. The in group is the group that is in the religion. They're the believers. They're brothers and sisters. You see, a lot of religious people will call each other, oh, my brother and sister. I mean, people of all groups do that. I know a lot of us Black people, we like to call each other as brother and sister. Hey, sister. Hey, brother. That's another form of in group and out group. And there's reasons for this. For Black people, saying hey, brother, hey, sister is a way that we acknowledge each other, because we're a marginalized group. So to acknowledge one, and especially because if you live in the United Kingdom where you're such a minority, seeing another person that looks like you, hey, brother, hey, sister, that's where that really comes from. In religion, hey, brother, hey, sister is these are my brothers and sisters. In Christianity, the Lord. In Islam, in Allah. In Judaism, in I don't know how they refer to God. Their God, their brothers and Jews are brothers and sisters together. That's how they see each other. So first of all, it does create an us versus them, and it's not always a bad thing. Not all religious people are going to be oh, well, because I'm Christian, I'll only ever hang out with Christians and only support Christians. No, we know that's not true, but we can't deny that it does play a role in certain things. And one of these things is the chosen narrative. And I'm going to talk about this in relation to Christianity. because that's how I know it the best. But basically, in Christianity, in the Bible, we're told that the Israelites, the ancient Israelites of the Bible, they're God's chosen people. And already growing up, I had an issue with that because what kind of father has favorites? That's not a good parent. Like, if someone who's a parent just went on social media and was like, yeah, I've got 2 kids, this one's absolutely my favorite, they're my chosen one, like, they'll get all the blessings, everything's easier for them. My other child, I do love them, but like, they'll have to do things. Like, we would say, like, okay, that's not right. You're showing favoritism to your children, and as they grow up, that's going to reflect in their development. We would be able to say that. But when it comes to religion, for some reason, it's okay for God to do that, and that creates a feeling of, well, there's a special group, and we can see that America, and I mean, for the most part, most of the Western allied countries, they are doing, but specifically America, they are doing literally any and everything to support the blue and white country. Yeah, they do. They will literally bend backwards to fucking save the blue and white country, because a lot of the people supporting these packs and supporting, donating money and stuff to this country are religious fanatics. They're evangelicals. And a lot of evangelicals believe that there's a verse in the Bible that even says that if you bless blue and white country, I'll bless you. You curse blue and white country, you'll be cursed, or some shit like that. And that's essential. And they genuinely believe that they have to support them because that's what their sky daddy tells them. And I just like, I'm just like, well, duh. It's no wonder that we have so many wars like this. It's no wonder that we have so much conflict. When you have so many people who genuinely believe that this is their divine instruction to support this country, to support these people, to support this land. Now, not forgetting that are they even the same people as the Bible? That's a whole nother topic, but that's a whole nother video. But you know what I mean? Like, it's no wonder. And this is why I really, 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 really think it's so important that we separate religion and politics, or we separate church and state, as they like to say. And even though technically that should be happening, it's so obvious that it doesn't. So many people, the way they vote, yes, they vote based on their religion. And I mean, what can you really, on one hand, it's like, can you really blame them? Because their religion is kind of like their whole life. They shape all of their whole life on this religion. So it's no wonder that they're going to make decisions based on it. But then on the other hand, we want to separate church and state. So I don't really know how you can resolve it. But that was the first thing I wanted to talk about, is basically how it creates this group of special people, and they're untouchable, and they're God's special people. And as you see, so many people who are evangelicals and who do support that country because of their religion, they say, well, I'm just doing it to glorify God. We just have to do it to glorify God. A lot of them, they won't even justify what they're doing is right. They won't even say, oh yeah, no, what they're doing is right or what they're doing is wrong. They'll just say, we're just supporting them because of God said so. And that's just, to me, that's bullshit, really. That's fucking pussy ass shit. Because you should have the fucking brain, you should have the critical thinking to go, wait a minute. Even though this says this, these people aren't acting good. So maybe I should look into that more and figure out what exactly this meant, But no, some of them just take it literal. And it's crazy because this is another thing that drives me up the fucking wall about religion, is that some parts, oh no, that's literal. Oh no, that's an allegory. Oh no, that's a metaphor. Bitch, pick one. Like, oh my god. And every single time you ask them, but why is this one a metaphor? Why is this one literal? Oh, well, God said. How do you know? Did he tell you that himself? Well, no, if you ask the Holy Spirit. But people can interpret the Holy Spirit differently. So how do we know who's right? And that's why we have so many fucking denominations. But I digress. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about, the first part. It creates a chosen people, which is why we see so many countries, like America in particular, that's the one I want to talk about, so many people that support blue and white country, they are religious fanatics. Now, there are people who support blue and white country that are not religious. But for the sake of this video, I'm not discussing people who are not religious, because I like to base what I'm talking about on my channel is based on, how things relate to religion and just like the negative aspects of it. Because that's what I really, really know, and that's my experience. So the next point, it creates expectation for prophecy. And what do I mean by this? So a lot of Christians, and I'm speaking from my experience based on my family and, what I know, they look at what's happening in the world right now, what's happening with the blue and white country, with America, the West, just all around the world. And they see all the pain, the destruction, the havoc, and they say, yes, this is the sign that God is coming. They revel in it. And maybe revel isn't even the word, because that kind of implies that they enjoy it, and I don't think a majority of them enjoy that. I do think most religious people are actually good people. However, I just don't agree with what they believe, and I think that if a lot of them took the time to like look into their religion, you probably wouldn't believe it. But anyways, they basically are looking at what's happening in the world right now and saying, "Wow, this is proof that the Bible is right, or the Quran is right, or this is right, and this is proof that the end times are near. Look at what's happening with the blue and white country, and the wars are starting because of them." Da, 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 da. I see so many preachers and evangelicals in America talking about how this is the sign of the times, these are the sign of the times, and this is exactly what God said. So it's kind of like they're fulfilling their own prophecy. And because of their own actions, because of the way they support this country, because of the way they donate to this country, because of the way they consistently back this country and everything that they do, they're kind of fulfilling the prophecy in themselves. I'm trying to figure out what the word. It's kind of like a self-fulfilled prophecy. If I think that's wrong, but you get the gist. You get what I'm trying to say. Like they are literally, almost no, I don't want to say happy, but they're almost what's the word I'm looking for? They're almost affirmed. Oh, that's a good word. They're almost affirmed by what's going on in the world. And I think I can't speak for all of them, but in my experience in my family, it kind of makes them a little bit pathetic. Because I was having this conversation when I had my really awful phone call with my dad, and I said, "Don't you see what's going on in the world? Like, don't you see that this is just like horrible? Like, people are being..." And he said, "Well, I've got more important things to do. This is all that was written in the Bible. God said that all these things would happen before He returned again." And I just thought, even if that was what was said, don't you think it's disgusting? Don't you have a shred of empathy? Or it just seemed like he didn't care, like he didn't get upset. Like, hearing all this stuff about what's happening in Gaza, especially, like, my heart breaks for these children, and just like even if you don't care about the adults, or you don't like people of a different religion, the kids, the animals, the innocent life that is being destroyed, the planet that's being destroyed, you don't care about that. You don't care. Like, I don't understand. I really don't get it. But that's one thing that I think religion really does, and especially this organized religion, it really does create this whole expectation of prophecy. And by continuing to vote and continuing to support that country, they're fulfilling their own prophecy. And that's kind of what point I was trying to get across. Okay, third point. Another thing is religion. As I mentioned, it creates the in group and the out group. And what this can do is it can create a culture where those who are not in the in group are seen as not just other, but they're dehumanized, and they're basically given the status of deficient in some way. Like, I don't know about you, but a lot of religious people that I know, they have said in front of me, actually, "Oh, you can't be non-religious and be a good person." I've heard that a lot of times. Like, they don't seem to think that you can have empathy or have unconditional love or can be an honest and truthful person because you don't have the Holy Spirit in you. This is something I've never understood, but this is something I've seen that religion can create. It can create this sort of, I don't want to say it gives you this sort of ego boost, but a lot of people who, they think that they're saved, "Oh, I'm going to heaven, I'm in the group." They do have this, "Well, I'm better than you. Like, I go to church, I do." Like, even other Christians will put themselves against other Christians to be like, "Well, do you go to church every Sunday? Oh, you're not a real Christian." Stuff like that. And it creates this dehumanization. And if you look at what's happening in the world right now, one thing that is happening is the Palestinians are being dehumanized. And why is that? Mainly because of their religion. Their religion is not the main Western religion. One thing America loves to harp on about is about their Judeo-Christian values, where Islamic is not in there. The Palestinians, yes, they're the oldest Christian population in the world, which is another thing a lot of Christians love to forget. Is like, oh, that's where your religion started. But yeah, like a lot of the Palestinians, they're Muslim or they're Christian, or some of them I'm sure are not even religious. But because the West sees them and automatically lumps them in with Islam, they're less empathetic towards their cause. They're dehumanized because they're seen as, well, they follow a false religion, so they're not worth it. And for a lot of Western people and just people who have, Christianity as their religion, they can resonate, or they seem to resonate more with the people of the blue and white country because their religion is closer to their religion. Even though I have my own opinion on that. But again, that's for another video. So that's what it causes, the dehumanization. And I also think that race has to play in that as well. But that's all another topic for another video, honestly. Like talking about like how race affects and how actually I watched a video talking about how some of the members of the IDF, when they had to go up against lighter skinned Palestinians or Palestinians that looked more like, them or Western, it kind of like they had cognitive dissonance because they thought, wait, hold on, they kind of look like us, which that's actually even crazy to say. The fact that, oh, it's harder for you, well, I mean, I don't even know, like, oh, it's harder for you to kill yourself, but to kill someone who looks like you. But if it was just a colored person, a brown person, we're seen as not human. And this is something that's been going on since the time, like, since forever, since slavery, since colonialism, since forever. Darker skinned people have always been, seen as less human. They used to compare black people, I mean, they still do, compare us to freaking monkeys. And it's just like, bro, what? Like, girl, does a monkey look this fab? Actually, no, monkeys are so cute. But still, they're trying to say that in a derogatory term, and it's just like, we're humans. And it's one thing that like really baffles me is how they thought that like we weren't human when they first like. So when I first saw a white person, I didn't think we weren't human. So that like blows my mind. I never understood that. But yeah, that's kind of like what I wanted to really talk about. Just because the conversation with my brother kind of like, I don't know, it kind of made me think that a lot of religious people like, oh God, I really need to stop saying like. I say like way too much. A lot of religious people, I think they see the world from their lens because that's their experience. We all see the world from our lens, but I just like a lot of them, they claim to be, my religion is one of love, peace, of this, but they're some of the most hateful, mean, like quick to anger people I've ever known. And that's another thing. Like, isn't one of the fruits of the spirit, gentleness, kindness, long suffering, love, peace, joy? Like, hey, what was I like making up a song? But and it's like so many of them don't show these attributes. Like Greg Locke. Is that his name? Greg Lockhead? Greg Lockheed, that crazy ass pastor in America. Does he give loving? Does he give gentle? Does he give peaceful? No. Christians. I have a question to ask you. Christians of America. Does Donald Trump, and if you're a Bible believing Christian, does Donald Trump give peace? Does he give loving? Does he give gentle? Does he give long suffering? Well, he definitely does give long fucking suffering. Jesus fucking Christ. But does he actually give fruits of the Spirit? Is he a good tree that will sow? Is it sow? No. Is he a good tree that will produce good fruit? And that's a word. And that's all I have to say, honestly. That's all I have to say. Religion is genuinely poison. And honestly, I'm going to continue this series of me just talking about how negatively religion can manifest. I think obviously next time I will try and get my points across in a better way. The thing is, I like to ramble and just like go on a tangent, and then I forget my point, and I just say like too much. I do too many filler words. Honestly, girl, I don't even know. But yeah, that's kind of like it. I just wanted to really talk about how, you know, how religion plays a part in this whole conflict, and how I'm just, as someone who, used to be religious, is no longer religious, fuck that shit, and, has a sane mind, looking at it from the outside, looking at it within, just how I see all of these things linking together. And yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree, if you have any other points to add to it. Um, I feel like there's so much more that I could say. Like I could talk about like so much more the end time prophecies, and what specifically they think is going on that confirms that, and like the whole thing about like genealogy and religion. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Please like, subscribe, comment, and yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.